Great. So hey, you've been doing these structure things and but our riff that we're gonna write for today is just gonna stay in box one. So initially, don't worry about what's a down pick versus an up pick. Do whatever's intuitive. But just remember, we're not seesawing. We're not, so just really quick, practice your bend here, practice your bend here, practice your bend here, and then practice pull off, pull off, pull off, just to kind of get your S together, And was your tendency to have your middle finger stick there? So pull-offs have nothing to do with doing that. It's just that your first finger wasn't there yet. So as long as it's a decisive movement, there I just made sure to move laterally with no down to it at all, and it totally sounded. So as long as it's a decisive movement, you're cool. Great. So our riff started with on a hammer on the second string, which I did on purpose because you wanted to go to here subconsciously. Your middle finger's going to go to there. As the next thing that happens is that you bend that note. So without rhythm existing in your practice, just go. Take however long it takes between them, and don't worry about the sound of the string bending back. When you're playing in rhythm, that won't be an issue. So you're just going. There's dosage one. Halfway through, I'm drawing a little tail line. Now we're going pull off on that string. No bends or anything. And then on the string above it, we're going index to ring, a single notey sounding hammer on. Here we're troubleshooting the thing that everybody does at first, where they assume that it's like, if I just hit this note, I'm going to go to here next, as opposed to, it could be the same note, the same finger twice, I could totally go, or whatever. So we're going, so there it is. It's a hammer on that sounds like one note. The short version is you just move both hands at once decisively. You can't get your left hand ready for it. It'll always kind of sound like two notes, but the difference is, a hammer on that's the melody versus the melody, and then we're going for the ladder, which I notate by putting it in parentheses. That sounds like one note, and I do the same thing with my bends. Every bend we've done so far has been sounds like one note rather than where you chill and then move, so that's why they're all in parentheses. Anyway, cool. So we just went, excuse me, and there's your first dosage of info. And de-emphasize rhythm at first. You just, back to I'm learning the dance steps, then I can dance. Just go over it like it's a grocery list right now. Section 1. Cool. Now, as opposed to what's natural, which would be start there and add new shit, we're now going to just start like the song starts on the second line of stuff I wrote. And this is going to be that thing we talked about where I was like, you can always do this if you run out of ideas. So we're going to do our third string bend and then go index. That's always that same, like pretty much anything you do next, even if you're just like, it sounds cool. So that, particularly that bit. Cool, so we're going, there's that bit, so just stop your tape, work on that. And then we're going to be up on the high string, making a point to go to, so now we're going to go, so that's one single strike. Again, just a reminder to have your middle finger in the ball game and in the position where you can push up both of those guys. And we're forcing your hand here, haha, literally, having already done the exercises, because this is a pull-off. It's one single strike. I bend, I relax, I pull off. And as long as you squarely do all of those movements, it'll sound. This is probably the hardest thing in our thing. But just, also you can't really do it slowly. If you go, then that note will have fizzled out by then. So, if you are working on this part slowly, just expect that not to ring out. So it's bend, relax, pull off. And the thing is that your index finger's on the string the entire time, rather than seesawing. So there's that. Just work on that on its own. It's just going, and then let's go. Excuse me, adding the previous thing to that. Just great. And then now we're going to do a thing that troubleshoots another thing we do, which is that we tend to assume that it'll go seesaw, seesaw, whether we're talking about technique-wise or just that it's going to go, if I just play this, I'll play this, and I'll play that. Whereas we tend to use the same dot a lot or go same string or same finger. So yeah, here this is all the same note. I'm going, so I'm on my ring finger here at the 8th fret. I'm going regular note, bend, and then pull off. So all three of those start with this note. So you're going, I'm here, I bend, I pull off. Cool. So that's we went, so that was like. So I just added the previous thing to it. Anyway, but just stop and go. And that whole thing, everything on the second line was. Let's do that again. And you can assign your own rhythm to it. It's all good, but. Cool. And I'm making a point not to do the whole thing yet. And then all that's left is something that. So just making a note. This is at exactly 6 minutes. Now we're on the 3rd string doing a bend, where like you've already practiced, you're using all three fingers bending, and we're gonna go. Not really concerned with whether it's a half step or not, and then just pull. That'll be the easiest thing in the whole thing. Just bend, pull off. We do so much playing where we're doing like some version of I bend there, and then end up on this note, and that's that note that works there as a bend. Awesome. So that was, and even if your version of this goes, I do the first thing, pause, I do the second thing, pause. Here's what we intend for the entire thing, starting at like 6:30. So, and I'm going to try to do it slow. Again, that was. But if your version goes, whatever, wherever you want to put pauses, it's fine, but that's the way I intended it to go. And there is the riff that we did. And then after the fact, if you feel like you have the capacity to still be thinking, add the down ups, but I really don't think that's like bonus footage if you find yourself working on alternate picking. For now, do whatever's natural, and we'll worry more about right hand next time around.